challenge for this lab is to examine a new program where we're going to calculate average win over a 5-year period for a football team. So in our algorithm, we're going to look at the steps that have to take place. Now remember, with an algorithm, it's just a set of steps in no specific terms. We can just explain the things that have to happen. So after reading the description of the program, we will have to take in the wins for each of the 5 years, and we're going to do that individually into different variables. After that, we're going to calculate the average as the total divided by 5, and then we're going to display the average to the screen. So there'll, of course, in the pseudocode and the flowchart be more steps to that, and you can describe your algorithm as the way that you see fit for the steps that must take place. Now in the pseudocode, when we start our pseudocode, we're going to follow the steps of declaring our variables, then we'll do our input statements, and then we'll do our calculations, or calculation in this case. I think there's only one. And then we'll do our output in those processes. Now when we declare our variables, we're going to start by declaring our wins for each of the 5 years, and we're going to put those in 5 separate variables. Because you're not going to win a half of a game, we can declare those as integers. So we can do declare int, and then we can call this year 1 wins, or simply year 1, however you want to. Remember, no spaces, and variables typically cannot start with a number but can contain a number. So we'll do this for all 5 years. You, of course, finish that out. And then we need another variable that will store the average win for the 5-year period. Now because that is a variable that's going to very likely store a decimal value, since we're doing division with it, then we're going to declare that as a real data type. Now when we go to our input statements, there are 5 variables that we're going to enter. So we'll have 5 sets of input processes where we'll do a display and then enter wins for year 1, and we're going to do an input into the variable year 1. Now you'll continue that for year 2, 3, 4, and 5 in your input area. Now when you go down to do your calculations, you'll just simply type your calculation, whereas your calculating average wins is equal to add up all your years and then divide by 5. So after the process, now this ... indicates you will complete that. When you add up all of your years for the 5 years, end your parentheses, and then divide by 5. Remember your order of operations. So parentheses have to happen first in this situation, otherwise you'll get incorrect errors, which would be a logic error. Now our output, we want to use a display statement to display the average wins for the year, so you can complete that as well. Now working with our flowchart, we're going to go over to Raptor, and again we'll start by saving this, and when you save, lab1-5 will automatically append the .rap extension. Now we're going to do the same thing that we did earlier in lab1-3, where we add a comment box and we declare our variables. So list all of your, we call that year 1, list all of your variables here in the comment box. Now after that, we have input statements. So again, we're going to have 5 input statements that take in each of the year. So an example of how this works again, we're going to say enter wins for year 1, and we're going to put that into a variable called year 1. And you'll continue that on for 5 years. Now after that, we do an assignment statement. So we add our assignment here, and in this box, we're going to calculate average wins. So again, here, average wins is equal to add up all the years using parentheses, and then making sure we have no syntax errors, and then we're going to divide by 5. So that would be your one and only calculation. Then we have one output that we're going to display. That would be how your Raptor flowchart would be set up. Once that's complete, you can put that over into the lab. Now looking at the Python code, you're going to open up Python, and we'll save this as lab1-5.py. Just go to my proper location. Whoa! Be in the right box, 1-5.py. And again, documentation or comments are preceded by a #. So we're going to just start by doing our inputs here. Now remember, year 1 equal to, we have the option of using raw input for strings or input for numeric values. Since year 1 wins is a numeric value, we're going to just use input for this. So this process is going to follow the pseudocode. Now you'll continue this on for all 5 years, and then at that point you'll do your calculation, and then you'll do your output after that. Now with your output, remember in Python it's the print and then your string of what you want to say, wins, comma, and then the variable name.